Hey everyone, it's been a while, been about 3 months. Market has been pretty humbling to say the least, and I just wanted to give you an update. It's a little longer than usual video, but I kind of want to give the full breakdown. So we'll get right to it. So what happened? Right, we see that we broke below the $30,000 range. Right, we'll zoom in on the weekly, but we broke below the $30,000 range and went straight for a retest of previous all-time highs. What do I mean by that? Well, back in 2017, we couldn't break through. That was the highest it's ever been. Then we broke that, went for the ride, and then we came back down for a retest. Right, so you can see how it's important to map out the history, right? What levels we see, why do certain levels kind of reverse? You know, why did it reverse here, and why didn't it reverse down here, or why didn't it reverse here? Well, you know, we could see the levels. So we're going to use that as our reference point, right? So that's our all-time highs. Let's just make this black, and we're just going to make this a little thicker, right? So that way when we zoom in, it looks better. Bearish, all straight through, right? We closed, here's where we closed below this 38,000, and then that's when we just kind of melted. But let's now focus on some possible bear rally levels. And we'll get right to it. So this is on the monthly now. So it looks like this held, right? We just kind of need some more confirmation. We want to make sure that we have a continuation higher. And we'll zoom in for that. Certain levels that stand out to me for pullback levels, 35,000. Okay, we have the $35,000 level, 35 to 37. Right, you can probably extend that towards 38, but for now we're just going to focus on this candle opening here. So we have 35,000 to 37,500. That's going to be our retest. Okay, so let me just slide that over here. And you could say that this is our, right? This is going to be our range. Again, because of the recent all-time highs. So we could see, you know, possible retest here and then consolidation here. Right? I mean, that's a long time, 2020. I mean, that's probably not going to take that. It probably won't consolidate that long, but let's just see what happens. Again, this is a monthly time frame. So this is the level here. We have the first retest would be about $35,000 to $38,000, and if we manage to hold above that, you know, the next retest here would be about $40,000, right? About 43 to 45. I don't think we're going to get there. I think first we have to kind of make sure that we get a proper retest of this level, right? So looking at the right side here, 35 to 38. Let's just delete this because I don't think this market has enough oomph to get up there. But if you want to take the conservative approach, you know, you could say 35 to 37 would be a retest. So that's going to be the recap for Bitcoin. Now, do I think we have a bottom? I don't think so. I like to see a proper retest of 13,800, so about $14,000. That's where I think, you know it. Again, not to predict anything, but on a technical standpoint, for me, I think a proper retest of this level would make me happy, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, dollar cost averaging, if you're here for the long term, which you should be, any throughout the whole market, right? Using Bitcoin as a reference point, anything below this level, 30. I mean, it's a pretty good price, right? In the range, in relative to where we were a couple of months ago, a year ago, right? You're talking about 70,000, and now the price of the asset dropped, 60, 70%. And that's where we are now. That's where we're just sitting at. So again, you know, zooming out, long-term view, you know, pretty good price range to start, to be anything under 30. And you know, that's where I think we would have a nice bottom, somewhere about 14,000. If we, you know, again, the trend is down. So now let's zoom in on the weekly. And you could see how that cluster that I highlighted here on the monthly view here, we could see that would be that retest here. So again, from 28 to 32, and then that cluster above, you know, from a weekly standpoint, we could do, that's here, about $36,000 to $40,000. That would be the next level. But again, let's concentrate on the level we have in front of us. So this is the first retest. You know, that'll be around that area. Again, you know, more or less, maybe it, you know, depending on the market is not as liquid, so we could probably see, you know, conservatively 26 to 29. You know, if we want to be conservative in our targets. Right, so it looks like we're heading for that retest now. We'll see how we react. You know, if we started getting some rejections, then right back down to this range, and then, again, possible lack of liquidity, right, in the market. So we'll see what happens. But that, regardless, long-term view, you know, investing at these prices are pretty, you know, pretty compelling. Let's move on to Ethereum. So we have our levels, right? We retested 19,666, and then we're kind of retesting previous resistance, right? Conservatively 27 to 29, and then, you know, if you kind of want to go for the stars, that would be like a nice, that's like a retest for me, 31,000, you know, more or less. So that's it for Bitcoin here. Trend is down, right? So let's not get too excited. Let me just get this handy little trend line, and you can see how, let me just make this nice and neat for everyone. You can see how that retest here on this trend line, right? So we'll see from there. You know, it'll be one or two things, right? So the bullish scenario would be we kind of pop up, we come back down, and we start creating a higher low and higher highs, or we go for that retest around this level, as discussed before, and we just kind of reject, and, you know, we fall down towards $14,000. So bearish scene, and then the bullish scene, right? Again, you know, hitting levels, right? You want that's a level here of 32,000. That's another level here at 36. You know, 43, and so on and so forth, right? But let's focus on what we have in front of us. So that's the level here, possible retest or rejection. For Bitcoin, let's go to Ethereum. Ethereum was pretty interesting. So if we take out this line, you know, I have this here. So it didn't go for the retest of the wick. It went for the retest of the actual body candle, with the candle body, which is kind of interesting. So it didn't stop here like Bitcoin did, right? And we're well above it now. It went for that retest on the body. So could it be a possible bottom? Yeah, you know, it's possible. Again, you know, if you're investing long term, yeah, it's you know, these prices are pretty good, right? This one, again, maxed out at 4,700, and then we're back to 1,000, right? At one point it hit, you know, sub $1,000 levels. But for me, let's say Bitcoin does get that pullback, you know, this level kind of stands out to me more. Conservatively would probably be $500, $530. If you really want to go, you know, full towards that wick, it'll probably be $400. So a possible retest of about the around these levels. Again, not spreading FUD or anything like that, but it's just kind of, it's just, you know, if you look at it and knowing what you know now, that resistance always gets retested to flip to support, you know, was that it? You don't know, right? But this level here, conservatively, at 500s, or this level here, at 400s. Regardless, sub $1,000 levels, I think for me, for investing long term, I think it's pretty good price. So that's it for Ethereum. Let's go for a pullback. What do we see for pullback areas? You know, we have $2,200. Okay. So we have $2,200, and then we have, I mean, that's pretty wide of a candle, but pretty wide area. $2,200, and then we have $2,700 to $3,000. Let's zoom in on the weekly, see what the weekly looks like, what it brings us. So here we have this area right here, which we're in right now. We're into this zone. This is the zone we're in. If we manage to break through, then the next zone up top, next zone for me would probably be around here, this area. 24 to $2,700. And look at all these green, look at all these red candles, right? I like to see us make our way slowly but surely towards that. I mean, it could get to the point where we see 3,100, right? And then we just sit on it and see exactly what happens, right, with the market. Yeah. So, we have the news of the merge, right? The whole merge situation. So we could see a possible retest here, which is also the retest of the trend line, right? Again, we get a rejection. We could bounce back, and if we capitulate, we would capitulate to that level towards 500, right? First, maybe here 500 and change, and then 400. So we'll see how the market reacts. I mean, it all depends on how you see things too, right? It's all about sentiments, psychology, right? Do you think like we came out of the storm yet? Do you think like there's still pain ahead? Are we in a recession? Are we not in a recession? I mean, technically we are, but apparently they changed the administration changes the definition to what a recession is. So I don't know. We kind of bounced back. It took us a couple of weeks, but we bounced back, right? But if you already had this level mapped out from way back here, then you knew that this was probably a good entry. It was probably a nice entry with stop loss. But yeah, still, I mean, it'll be a nice entry, right, at that point down here. So everything else is just noise. Again, we'll see what happens. So a possible retest of 27. $25 to $2,700. So we'll take it from there. Again, to kind of change my mind, I would have to see a retest here, stay above here, consolidate, stay above here, right? Because that's resistance, and then retest, and then go on higher and for bullish momentum. But right now, we don't have that yet. We got to see what happens. Right, we're in the right path. Could we get a pullback here first and then kind of resume? Possibly. For a double bottom, because again, look, we're getting consecutive green candles. That's getting me a little nervous, right? We get these consecutive green candles, and then we see, red candles kind of retesting where that bullish impulse came from, right? So that bullish impulse came from this area. It's possible we could get a retest again. Something to keep in mind. But so far, so good. That retest here of this trend line, 2,500, is possible. I won't say it's inevitable, but it's definitely possible. I like to clear this whole area out of candles, with just green candles. So we'll see. We like to offset that. So yeah, that's for Ethereum. We're in the retest now. If we're able to maintain, we can retest. Some levels along the way. But ultimately, $2,500 is the number for me. And if not, then we can see some downside towards, what did I say, 580 to 400. This level here. And that's it for Ethereum. XRP, I haven't done XRP in a while, but I kind of want to go over it. Just because it's been a while. You can see same thing, right? Trend is your friend. Trend is down. This is a pretty hard, not hard to chart, but it's just here. You can see, we held this level here, right? This is support, resistance, broke through, failed, resistance, 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 resistance. We broke through, came back for a retest, and now we're coming back for a retest again. To be honest, these levels here, I have one level of 42 cents, right? We'll just call that 42 cents. Another level here, and I'm just going to show you what I said from these candle closures. So the candle closure and the open, we had that reversal. So from here, it'll be, if we're able to break above 42 cents, we could see 49. That's on a weekly stamp. Sorry, this is a monthly, right? So it'll take a while, but ultimately, I'd like to see a retest of 60 cents. I like to see that retest. Not saying it's going to happen, but for me, 60 cents seems like a proper retest, which coincides with this trend line. If you were to go wick to wick, it kind of coincides with this trend line here, this level. So now let's zoom in on the weekly since we have our levels now. You can see that we're consolidating between, what is that, 42 and 32. Okay, so we have 42 and 32. From a weekly time frame, let's see. From a weekly time frame, no, I think this is all good. I mean, this is pretty much what I see here. Just pretty, that level to retest. You see all these red candles. I think here would probably be a nice retest. So 60 to 61 cents. I think that's pretty good. So let me just clear these out really quick, and then we'll use the weekly levels. See that we held above here. You could even get down here and you can see that we retested, right? But just kind of like, to be conservative, I'll go above the candle, and you can see we consolidated. Now we're just kind of waiting for a move higher. And then, using the same, we'll get that retest here first. So 45. So 41 to 45. If we manage to break 45, we could see a nice rise towards 60 cents. We have 60 to 63 cents. Now, if we manage to break through, then we could talk about higher levels. But if we fail, then we could see a pretty nasty kind of, tumble. Where would that bottom be if the other two play out to go to those lower levels? It's a really good question. It's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, if I had to pick, I'd say about 20 cents. 20 to 25 cents. Oops. I'd say here. I mean, I know that's a wide range. Let me just tighten it up a little bit for you. Not really much tightened, but history shown we had resistance. We broke through, came back for a retest, bounce, consolidated, broke through, and now we kind of consolidated, pumped, and now we're just coming back for some retests. See, if I stretch this back, you could see how that's also like a level that the market interacts with. So if I were to make this tighter, I would say here 22 to 25 cents. That would be the low. Oh, a possible target, possible low, right, possible. So we'll see what happens here. I could see that this kind of turned on. Let's take this level and just move it up. You can see how it kind of turned on this level, right? Resistance, came up. Didn't really get a full retest, but we got that retest, even candle to candle. So let me just drag this really quick down. See how it matters how the body, it had to retest the body. So, Bitcoin had this wick up here, but it retested the wick, the top of the wick, right? But it didn't retest the body. So we'll see. We'll see. So the retest for XRP would be up towards 41 to 42 cent range. If we break above 45, then we could see, a nice rise towards 60. And I'm sure that there's some kind of, ruling on a case or whatever the Ripple has on them. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, trend is your friend. It's down, right? Until we break and stay and make higher lows and higher highs. SHIB, I just kind of wanted to add that in. I see it as a nice opportunity, to be honest. Look at this consolidation level we had for about a couple of months, starting May 2021. That's nice, right? And if I were to just extend this, look at where we're at. How do you not, take advantage of the fact that the accumulation level, we're there. I see just a quick retest of this level here. Let's make another box. I see a retest here. You know, that this is on a weekly time frame. So, you know, from, you know, 4 zeros 1 to 4 zeros 2. Just seems interesting. Let's see if I can find this. Okay, here it is. Yeah, it just seems interesting, right? From where we're at now, or even if you were to caught the bottom of that, on that reversal, that's 160% gain, you know, a push up. So even at these levels, even if we decide to pull back a little bit, right, we'll still be kind of going in the right directions. All I know is that these levels have to be retested. Just no one can get the timing right? But we know where we're at now, and we know where the possible retest is, right? Support, broke through, got to come back up for the retest, right? We need to get that retest here. So simple as that, especially for SHIB. So we'll see where we are here. Weekly time frame. Let's check out the daily. I mean, we have some levels to kind of overcome to get there, of course. But we have here. We have another one here. We have another. Well, here's pretty much the bottom part of that range. So we'll just take that and tighten this up here. Yeah. So that's what I see for SHIB. So like just kind of retested the 4 zeros 2. We're at 4 zeros 1 2. So yeah, that's it for this video. I know we went over the time. I know it's longer than usual, only because it's been a couple of months. So I kind of want to get back on it and break everything down, right? I think you guys deserve it. So we got our retest levels. We got our possible if poop hits the fan level below us as well, and I'll make sure to bring that up next time in the next video. A couple of days from now. So I appreciate it. If any of this resonated with you, please subscribe, follow, comment below, thoughts, anything like that you had in mind, and I'll check you guys in the next video. Thank you.